I think that's exactly a year that Hexagon has announced the Hexagon Imagery Program.
Customers are no longer just buying data, they're no longer just buying software. They want answers. Many of the customers we're seeing pick up the need for geospatial technologies.
Hello, welcome to GeoBiz, the online video channel from Geospatial Media and Communications. We have in our studios a special guest today, Mladen Stojic, President Hexagon Geospatial. Mladen, welcome to GeoBiz.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
As you understand and everyone understands, change is something that is pretty daunting and intimidating often.
Yeah.
So how is Hexagon, because Hexagon is all about smart change, so how is Hexagon making it easy for users to make this transition with change?
Okay, that's a good question. So before I directly answer that, I think some context on the fearless experience of change and what are we changing, because I think without that context it's hard to answer the question. We recognize that as the industry is changing, and what does that mean? The industry is no longer just, customers are no longer just buying data, they're no longer just buying software. They want answers. Many of the customers we're seeing pick up the need for geospatial technologies are not traditional users. They want to know the amount of green space that's changed in an urban environment. They want to know answers to very, very big questions and very big problems. And today, and most recently, to solve problems, they'd have to buy data, they'd have to buy software, they'd have to pay someone to put it all together. And it's hard, and it costs a lot of money. We want to change how the industry works and its underlying economy, and with that, there's a lot of fear. We as a business sell software, right? But we recognize that in the future we won't be selling software. We'll be selling subscriptions to a service that delivers an answer or an information capability that someone subscribes to, that they plug into, connect to, and ultimately get answers to pressing questions that they have. Just like data, customers won't just buy data anymore, because data in and of itself is of limited value unless it's connected to software that solves a particular problem. So we expect there to be a lot of change in the industry, and our customers are forcing us to go down this road of change. And with change, there's a lot of fear. Fear typically triggers a psychological response, which is many times paralysis. People don't want to move, they're stuck. And we're telling our customers, our partners in our market, come with us. Because we are a partner-focused company. We're asking our partners, okay, you're used to selling products a certain way. We're doing things in the technology stack that will support new business models. Come with us, change with us. We're asking the industry partners, data providers, change with us, come with us. And to overcome the fears of change, going back to your original question, we're extending many things to our customers and our partners. We're unconventional partners. We're giving them access to things that they've never had access to, such as source code, such as what's required, partnerships, what's required to be successful in business models that are different, revenue sharing models that are different. Because if we don't extend the olive branch and extend a window to change, nothing will change. So we have to change. And it's about, when I took over the business, and I said to the staff, we have to change. Me, Mladen, the team, the organization, we have to think differently. Because if we don't think differently, how can we expect our customers, our partners, and the market to change? So the change started with us. Yes. Now we're extending that change to the community, our partner network, our customers, and it does require overcoming fears. And we're changing business models so that partners trust us. We're changing how our partners get access to technology, in some cases giving a lot of source code to partners who we trust, who trust us, who have a commitment with us. So it's really, there's a lot of change in the air, but it's to change that the way customers work, because they're asking us to change. So we're doing a lot of things with revenue models, technology models, partnership models, and hopefully our goal once again is to change the geospatial economy and the industry, because I don't think status quo is an option anymore.
Yes, status quo is not an option anymore, definitely. And on this count, when you said about change, I would like to quote Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "Be the change you want to see in the world."
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to see that Hexagon has that change, that change in its own thinking,
Right.
its own ways of doing
Absolutely.
business, and its own way how it sees its customers'
Absolutely.
needs. And the customer needs starts with data, I guess.
Yeah.
So when today the data scenario is such that we are seeing a flood of data, and data by itself, as you have said, is not of much value. Is not of much value.
Correct.
So how is it Hexagon Geospatial trying to make value for its users from data?
Okay, so that's a good question. It starts with an understanding that we both agree data has a lot of potential, but on the surface is of limited value until you apply something to it. And if you don't mind, I'll use a cooking example. If I want to cook an Italian meal, an onion is good, a tomato is good, pasta is good, and all the ingredient, chicken is good, but individually they're all good, but of limited value. I'm not just going to eat an onion.
Yes.
But when I combine those ingredients and prepare a meal and serve that meal, it's very appetizing and very tasteful to many users who would pay for that meal. The same thing with data. Data is good when you combine multiple sources of data, which we enable with our platform. We are not a single source framework or platform. We have the ability to ingest multi-source content, everything from the Hexagon imagery program through to multi-sensor or multispectral imagery, through to UAV data, through to terrestrial GPS, TPS, mobile mapping data, to social feeds, to dynamic sensor feeds, traffic lights, information, traffic sensors, weather sensors. For us, data is the fuel or the wind that our engines transform into something that's usable. And once again, when you combine all of these ingredients together with software, which we do, really having the world's most broadest geospatial platform, supporting GIS data, remote sensing data, photogrammetry data, and a whole host of data types, we have the ability to cook solutions. And that's what really gives us an advantage and gives our customers an advantage to really build solutions that use that data combined with software to deliver a very specific solution and application.
Okay, would you like to cite one example of how Hexagon Geospatial is creating solutions for its customers?
Yeah, I mean, I can give you a couple examples. Probably the one I'll start with is in the UK, and I talked about it in the Hexagon Live keynote, working with our partners Sterling Geo and an organization called Catapult UK and the Satellite Application Center. There's this need, and I'll explain the problem first. There was a big storm event and a big flooding event that occurred in the city of Hull in the UK. And what happened was that area, there was a lot of development, a lot of green space being converted, paving over green space. And when you have a very big storm event, a 50-year, 100-year storm event, very rapidly, the infrastructure, the sewers, the pipes, they can't handle all the water. It caused a lot of damage to property, to personal property, infrastructure, because there was flooding in the city of Hull. That instigated an effort to basically pass policies that will limit the extent of green space change, trees, vegetation, grass, parks, and not allow rezoning of up to a certain level. So the problem was, we got to be more careful when we change zoning from green to urban or gray space. And we basically built an application called an information service application called a Green Space Analyzer. Using multi-source content from multiple time periods, we're able to synthesize these satellite images, aerial images, elevation data sets, extract pertinent information from those data sets, land cover, land use information, stitch that all together in an analytical recipe, and then communicate the results, not as a GIS or as a remote sensing layer, like a land change layer or a green space layer, as a set of numbers, as a dashboard, a ratio of green to gray, 1.2 to 1, 2 to 1 over time. So they can look at these reports and look at trends to understand what was, to better have a grasp of what is, but more importantly, to pass policies of what can be and what will be, okay? So this concept of ingesting multiple ingredients, including data types with multiple types of data, adding business intelligence to that, business analytics to that. And it's not about the map anymore. It's about being able to deliver the city, let's say Milton Keynes, in this particular case, reports on the amount of green space change. And what's beautiful now is with all these new beautiful microsatellites flying, we have daily revisits over these vast geographies. So now I have the ability. In the past, I'd have to order the data set, buy the data set, wait 3 months, and here's my report.
True.
Now we have the ability to sense the Earth very rapidly, very quickly, and update these analytics, these numbers, this very valuable information, and then get it into the hands of the people as a text message, as a PowerPoint, as a PDF, as a Word document, not as a map. I think the map, of course, is the fabric, but as the information that's pertinent to a given problem. And it's a beautiful example of how things are changing. And the customer, in this case, is not interested in buying a software package or buying data. They want to subscribe on a quarterly basis to a service that gives them a report or some indication, some dashboard on what's changed, how much has changed, and giving them some insight or answers into that complex problem.
That's a good way of going forward. Customers want to see what has changed and how much has it changed, and in bringing it in terms of operational efficiencies or productivity gains, they want to really measure the changes. So our Hexagon's geospatial solutions able to provide measurable ROI, returns on the investment to the customers.
I absolutely. I mean, our partners are the ones, so just to position, we of course work with partners whose job it is to establish an ROI on a given solution. That's typically reflected in a response to RFPs or tenders that clearly establish there's a need to solve a problem. But the ROI in this particular case that I referenced was being able, and it's hard to tell what the ROI on this one will be because you're passing policy that will influence rezoning or redesignation of zoning, which will minimize the impact of floods. So in this particular ROI, we want to minimize the damage to infrastructure and personal property by minimizing the likelihood or the probability of floods through a 10-year storm event, a 50-year storm event, or perhaps even a 100-year storm event. So our mission is to really protect lives, property, infrastructure. That's the ROI. I mean, that's really why we're in business, because we recognize that the Earth's geography is changing at an incredible pace. And to make sense of this dynamically changing environment, we need to be able to quickly get answers to information that's pertinent and relevant and can be delivered in a very easy to use way, not as a software product, not as a data set, but as a service, as an information subscription, or more importantly, an information.
One of the trends I observe in this geospatial industry traditionally has been that the value proposition and the benefit out of the geospatial technology has not been clearly delivered to the user for a long time. But definitely this kind of an approach, this kind of taking things forward more in a solution-centric manner for the customers will really increase the value of geospatial technology. But essentially it depends upon the vendor and the user connect, and how well the vendor can really communicate, coordinate, and deliver the value of geospatial technology, create awareness, and make them learn and also implement in their organizations.
Absolutely.
So how do you see this progression over the vendor-user connect really improving for the betterment of, rather I would say for the benefit of users and for the real significance of this technology reaches the users?
Yeah, so I think it certainly requires a lot of outreach, right?
Exactly.
And the outreach is multi-level. I think I'll start at the beginning and then sort of work up. It starts at education. I think many users, we have to educate our students, those entering college, those in college, about the powerful capabilities that are available through the use of geospatial technologies, because we have these fresh minds, these very creative individuals who are now leaving colleges and universities who have the ability to now to apply geospatial technologies to many, many different applications and industries. So there's certainly a level of outreach that has to happen at the educational level. Once you move beyond the educational level, then you look at nonprofits, think tanks, research institutes, those organizations that don't necessarily think about today, but think about the future. Think about what are the pressing issues of the future and how do we start addressing those today, so we take a proactive stance as opposed to a reactive stance when it comes to solving what we anticipate to be a problem. So that type of outreach, and Hexagon certainly having relationships such as, you know, like we do with Catapult UK. It's an organization, a research organization that's thinking 20, 30 years ahead and anticipating problems, and establishing a relationship with some of their users and their customers, and working together with Hexagon. We're working together not to solve just a problem today, but to make sure that we are in a position to solve issues and problems as they become apparent in the future. And then, you know, just looking at other, you know, industry associations and, you know, outreach through, you know, even, you know, coming from GeoInt, GOT-GeoInt, USGIF group, the OGC groups, the ISPRS groups, the different standards groups and committees. I think the outreach has to happen at multiple levels, and certainly each one of those avenues allow us to connect to users in a different way, so that together we can formulate strategies to solve problems in the future.
I wish you all the best
Thank you.
in achieving your vision. It always excites me to talk to you and understand your vision and
good.
your passion for this technology.
Thank you.
Thank you.